What if the sweetest thing in your life is also the quiet force shaping your energy, your mood, your cravings, and even your future health? And what if removing it for just 14 days could begin to rewrite that story? Welcome, and thank you for being here. Before we begin, take a slow breath, not to prepare for information, but to arrive. Feel the air move in and out. Beneath that simple rhythm, your body is engaged in countless invisible processes, adjusting, adapting, responding to every choice you make among those choices. One of the most powerful yet often underestimated is sugar, not just the sugar you stir into tea, but the hidden sugars in processed foods, in packaged snacks, in drinks that quietly flood your bloodstream with more glucose than your body was ever designed to handle in a single moment. So today, we explore a simple but profound question: what truly happens inside your body when you stop eating sugar for 14 days? Not in dramatic claims, not in exaggeration, but through the quiet lens of biology, chemistry, and human experience. Day 1 to 3. The awakening of absence. The first few days are not peaceful. They are revealing. When you stop consuming sugar, your body does not celebrate, it reacts. Because sugar, especially refined sugar, interacts with your brain in a way that resembles addictive substances. It stimulates dopamine, the neurotransmitter of reward, anticipation, and pleasure. So when sugar disappears, something subtle happens. Your brain notices the absence. You may feel irritability, low, persistent craving, a sense that something is missing, even if you cannot quite name it. This is not weakness, this is neurochemistry adjusting. At the same time, your blood sugar levels begin to stabilize, but not immediately. Without frequent spikes from sugar, your body must relearn how to maintain steady energy using more complex sources like glycogen and fat. You might feel tired, foggy, even slightly anxious, and yet, beneath this discomfort, something remarkable is beginning. Your insulin levels start to decrease, and that matters more than it seems. Day 4 to 7. The metabolic shift. Be the middle of the first week, your body begins to adapt. Constant rise and fall of blood sugar, the spikes followed by crashes start to flatten, and in their place, a quieter, more stable rhythm emerges. This is when many people notice something surprising. Hunger begins to change, not necessarily less, but different. Instead of sudden, urgent cravings, hunger becomes more gradual, more predictable. This is because your body is shifting away from rapid glucose dependence toward a more balanced use of stored energy. Insulin sensitivity improves, which means your cells are becoming more responsive, more willing to accept glucose when it's actually needed. And with that shift, another subtle change begins. Inflammation may start to decrease. No, inflammation is not always visible. It doesn't always announce itself with pain. Sometimes it exists quietly in the background, affecting your energy, your skin, your digestion, even your mental clarity. Reducing sugar reduces one of the major drivers of chronic, low-grade inflammation. So, without dramatic signals, your internal environment begins to calm. Day 8 to 10. The mind clears. Somewhere in the second week, many people experience a moment, not loud, not dramatic, but unmistakable, a kind of mental clarity. The fog that once hovered in the background begins to lift. This is not magic. It is physiology, and blood sugar is stable. Your brain receives a consistent supply of energy, not bursts, not drops, but a steady flow, and the brain thrives on stability. You may find it easier to focus, to complete tasks without distraction, to think with greater precision. At the same time, mood fluctuations may soften because sugar doesn't just affect energy, it affects emotional regulation. Spikes and crashes in glucose often mirror spikes and crashes in mood. Remove the instability, and the emotional landscape becomes more even, not perfect, but steadier. And in that steadiness, something deeper emerges, a sense of control. Day 11 to 14. The recalibration. Be the final days of the 2-week period. Your body is no longer reacting, it is recalibrating. Cravings for sugar, once sharp and persistent, often begin to fade, not because you are resisting them, but because your brain is no longer expecting the same level of stimulation. Taste buds themselves may change. Foods that once seemed bland, like fruits, vegetables, even simple grains, begin to reveal their natural sweetens because your sensitivity has returned. You are no longer overwhelmed by artificial intensity, and this is perhaps one of the most profound shifts or relationship with food begins to change, not through force, but through awareness. What happens beneath the surface while these daily experiences unfold? Deeper biological processes are quietly taking place. Your liver, which plays a central role in processing excess sugar, especially fructose, begins to experience less burden. Fat accumulation in the liver may start to decrease. Your risk factors for metabolic conditions begin, even in this short period, to shift slightly in a favorable direction. Hormones like leptin and ghrelin, responsible for hunger and satiety, start to rebalance. Or body begins to trust its own signals again, and perhaps most importantly, your cells are exposed to less oxidative stress because excess sugar contributes to the formation of advanced glycation end products, compounds that accelerate aging at a cellular level. Reducing sugar does not stop aging, but it may slow some of the processes that make aging more damaging. Psychological dimension, but this journey is not only biological. It is psychological. Is not just a substance, it is often a habit, a comfort, a reward, a response to stress, boredom, or emotion. So removing sugar creates a space, and in that space, you begin to notice patterns. Do I crave something sweet at this moment? Is it hunger or something else? Is it energy or emotion? These questions are not always easy, but they are powerful because they shift you from unconscious behavior to conscious choice. A deeper reflection. It is important to be clear. Stopping sugar for 14 days is not a miracle cure. It does not erase years of habits. It does not instantly transform health, but it does something perhaps more valuable. It reveals, it shows you how your body responds when one variable is removed. It gives you a glimpse of your baseline in a world where so much of our consumption is automatic. That awareness is rare and powerful. What this teaches us about the human body, if there is one lesson to take from this exploration, it is this: human body is not fragile, it is adaptive. It responds to patterns, it adjusts to inputs, it learns from repetition, but it also remembers balance. Given the opportunity, even for just 14 days, it begins to move toward equilibrium. Not perfectly, not instantly, but steadily, and that steady movement is where real change begins. So as you leave this moment, consider not just the idea of removing sugar, but the idea of observing your body, listening to it, noticing how it responds when something changes, because health is not built in dramatic gestures, it is shaped in quiet decisions repeated over time. And sometimes the smallest experiment, like removing sugar for 2 weeks, can open the door to a much deeper understanding of yourself. And before you go, if this perspective helped you see your body in a new way, more clearly, more thoughtfully, then take a moment to support this journey. Subscribe, like this video, because each day we explore not just health, but the deeper intelligence within the human body, and the more you understand it, more wisely you can live within it.